All right, welcome everyone to another deep dive. Today we're really getting into something that I think a lot of people struggle with, and that's finding peace in a world that just seems to get crazier by the minute. We're diving into meditation for mental calmness.
Yeah, absolutely. And what's interesting is for this deep dive, we actually have a collection of questions and answers that we're going to be pulling from. So we're going to try to distill the most important insights and, give you some practical advice that you can actually use.
So I guess a really obvious first question is, what exactly is meditation for mental calm? Like, is it really about completely emptying your mind? Because honestly, that just sounds impossible to me.
That's a question that comes up all the time, and it's actually a big misunderstanding. Meditation for mental calm isn't about forcing your mind to go totally blank. It's more about learning to be aware and pay attention in a very specific way, right here, right now.
Okay, so not some kind of total thought shutdown?
Right. It's more like, you learn to observe your thoughts, your feelings, anything you're sensing physically, even the sounds around you. But you don't get swept away by them. It's not about judging them either.
So if it's not about what I'm thinking, then what is it about?
Think of it this way. You're sitting by a river, just watching the water flow. You see the leaves, you see the current, but you're not jumping in and trying to control it. You're just observing.
Oh, that makes a lot more sense. So it's more about my relationship to my thoughts, not trying to eliminate them entirely.
Exactly. It's all about training your attention. You learn to see where your mind goes, and you gently guide it back when it wanders. It's not about forcing anything.
But just observing, how does that actually create calmness? It seems kind of counterintuitive.
That's where the science gets really interesting. Meditation actually changes things in your body and your brain.
Okay, science, I like that. What kind of scientific evidence are we talking about here?
Well, for one thing, it has a direct effect on how your body responds to stress. When you're feeling pressured, your sympathetic nervous system kicks in, right? That's your fight or flight mode.
Yeah, the classic adrenaline rush.
Exactly. But meditation, it actually helps to activate the opposite system, the parasympathetic nervous system. It's the system that calms everything down, helps your body recover. And this can actually slow your heart rate. It can even potentially lower your blood pressure.
So it's not just a feeling, there are actual physiological changes going on.
Absolutely. And it goes even deeper than that. Meditation can actually change the structure and activity of your brain. Brain imaging studies, they show that regular meditation can change things in key areas of the brain.
Like what areas?
Well, one is the amygdala, which is like the brain's fear center. It processes emotions, especially fear and anxiety. And meditation, it can actually decrease activity in the amygdala, which makes you less reactive to stressful situations.
So less likely to freak out when things get intense.
Precisely. And at the same time, meditation strengthens the connections between the amygdala and the prefrontal cortex. That's the part of your brain responsible for things like decision-making, self-awareness, and importantly, emotional regulation.
Okay, so like a more evolved part of the brain.
Yeah, you could say that. And because of this stronger connection, you actually have more control over your emotional responses. You're not just a slave to your feelings. It's like upgrading the wiring in your brain's emotional control center.
That makes a lot of sense.
And on top of all that, studies have also found that meditation can lower your cortisol levels. Cortisol is that stress hormone, and having too much of it for too long can really wreak havoc on your body.
So meditation helps on a chemical level too.
It does, and we can't forget about self-awareness. That's really at the heart of the benefits. You see, consistent meditation, it makes you more aware of what's happening inside you. You start to notice those stressful thought patterns, those knee-jerk reactions, before they take over completely.
So you're not just blindly reacting all the time.
Exactly. You create this space, this pause, where you can actually choose how you want to respond. It gives you back control.
That's powerful stuff. Okay, so the why is pretty convincing. But what about the how? What do you actually need to start meditating? Do I need to buy special cushions, go find a guru on a mountaintop?
That's one of the beautiful things about meditation. It's incredibly simple and accessible. You really don't need any fancy equipment or anything like that.
So no shopping spree required.
Nope. The basics are really straightforward. First, you want to find a quiet place where you won't be disturbed for a few minutes. It doesn't have to be perfectly silent, just somewhere where you can focus without major interruptions. Your living room, your office, even a park bench could work.
Okay, so I don't need to build a meditation hut in my backyard.
Not unless you want to. The next thing is to set aside a specific time each day for your practice. Even if you only start with 5 minutes, consistency is key. Find a time that works for you, maybe first thing in the morning, during lunch, before bed, and try to stick with it.
So it's like any new habit. Regularity is more important than going for these marathon sessions right away.
Exactly. Now, in terms of how you sit or lie down, the most important thing is to be comfortable and alert. You can sit upright in a chair with your feet flat on the floor, back straight but not stiff. Or you could sit cross-legged on the floor, maybe use a cushion if that feels better. Some people even meditate lying down, but just be careful not to fall asleep. The key is to have a straight spine for alertness and ease of breathing.
Got it. Comfort and alertness. What about clothes? Anything special there?
Just wear something comfortable and loose, nothing that's going to restrict your breathing or be distracting. And that's really all you need. No special outfits, no incense, no elaborate rituals.
Okay, so pretty simple setup. Now, can you walk us through an actual meditation exercise, something we can try right now as we're listening?
Sure. A great starting point is to focus on your breath. How about we try a short version together now?
All right, lead the way. I'm ready.
Okay, so first, if you can, get comfortable in your chair or maybe even lie down. You can gently close your eyes, or if that doesn't feel right, just lower your gaze to a point in front of you.
Okay, eyes closed.
Now let's take 3 slow, deep breaths together. Breathe in through your nose, letting your belly expand, and then exhale slowly through your mouth, releasing any tension you might be holding. Ready? Let's do it 3 times.
Okay. Inhale, exhale. Yeah, I can already feel a little more relaxed.
Good. Now just let your breath return to its natural rhythm. Don't try to control it. Just observe how your body breathes on its own.
Just noticing my natural breath.
Got it. Now bring your attention to the physical sensations of breathing. Where do you feel it most clearly? Maybe it's the air moving in and out of your nostrils, the rise and fall of your chest, or the gentle movement of your belly. Choose one spot where you can really feel your breath and just rest your attention there.
For me, it's the rising and falling of my stomach.
Great. Just feel that sensation. In breath, out breath. You don't need to analyze it or think about it too much. Just experience the physical feeling of breathing.
Just observing.
Now, here's the thing. Your mind is probably going to wander. You'll start thinking about your day, your to-do list, that embarrassing thing that happened last week. It's totally normal, happens to everyone. Don't judge yourself, don't get frustrated. The moment you realize your attention has drifted, just gently guide it back to the sensation of your breath.
So the mind wandering is part of the process.
It is. And each time you notice it and bring your attention back, that's actually the exercise. You're training your attention muscle.
So it's like a mental workout.
Exactly. So keep going for a few moments. Every time your mind wanders, just gently bring it back to your breath.
Focusing, noticing, redirecting.
And when you're ready, just gradually bring your awareness back to your whole body, your surroundings. Maybe wiggle your fingers and toes a bit. And when you feel ready, gently open your eyes.
Okay, eyes open.
Yeah.
Wow, even just a few minutes of that was pretty calming.
Exactly. And even short practices like that can make a difference, especially if you do them regularly.
Speaking of regularity, how much time should people aim to meditate each day? Is there like a magic number?
You know, when you're first starting out, consistency is more important than duration. Aim for daily practice, even if it's just for 5 minutes. Then as you get more comfortable and start seeing the benefits, you can gradually increase the time if you want to. Many people find that 10 to 20 minutes is a good sweet spot, but even shorter, consistent sessions are really beneficial.
So small and steady wins the race. Now, what about those times when you sit down to meditate and your mind just feels like it's going a mile a minute? You know, thoughts are popping up left and right. Is there any hope of finding calm in that mental chaos?
That's so common. It happens to everyone, no matter how experienced they are with meditation. It's definitely not a sign that you're doing it wrong. Remember, the goal isn't to have an empty mind. It's about learning to be aware of where your attention is and gently bringing it back. Each time you do that, it's a win.
So the more chaotic the mind, the more opportunities to train.
Exactly. So instead of getting frustrated, try to be curious about those thoughts. Acknowledge them without judging yourself, and then gently redirect your attention back to your breath. Be patient and kind with yourself. This is a practice. It's a journey, not a test you need to pass.
I like that. It takes the pressure off. Now, we've been focusing on breath awareness, but I know there are other types of meditation for calmness. Can you talk a bit about those?
Of course. Focusing on the breath is a great foundation, but there are many other approaches that you might find helpful.
What are some other techniques that people could try?
Well, one is called body scan meditation. In this one, you systematically bring your attention to different parts of your body. You just notice any sensations that are present, whether it's warmth, coolness, tingling, pressure, tightness, or even numbness. You observe without judgment, without trying to change anything. It's a really great way to get grounded and release physical tension.
That sounds interesting. What else?
There's also loving kindness meditation, sometimes called metta meditation. This is all about cultivating feelings of warmth, kindness, and compassion, both for yourself and others. It's often done by silently repeating phrases like, "May I be filled with loving kindness, may you be safe, may all beings be peaceful." You can direct these feelings towards yourself, loved ones, even people you find difficult. It's a really powerful practice for dealing with negativity and fostering a sense of connection.
That sounds lovely. Any others?
One more I'll mention is walking meditation. This one's great for integrating mindfulness into everyday activities. You simply pay close attention to the physical sensations of walking, the feeling of your feet on the ground, the movement of your legs, your balance shifting with each step. You can also be mindful of your surroundings as you walk. It's a good option if you find it hard to sit still for long periods.
So there are lots of different options for people to explore.
There are. And I often suggest starting with breath awareness because it helps you develop that basic skill of focusing your attention. Then, as you feel ready, you can experiment with other types of meditation and see what works best for you.
Great advice. So to wrap things up, I think we've taken a really thorough look at meditation for mental calm. We've talked about the basics, tried a breathing exercise, and even explored some different techniques.
And the key takeaway is that meditation is a skill that gets stronger with practice. So be patient and kind with yourself as you go.
It's been a great discussion. As you go about your day, think about what resonated with you the most. Was it the simplicity of the breathing exercise, the science behind it, or maybe the idea that a busy mind is just part of the process?
And if you're thinking about incorporating meditation into your life, what challenges might you face? How can you adapt these practices to fit your own needs and your own life? This is a journey of self-discovery and finding that inner peace, and there's always more to learn.
Well, thanks for joining us for this deep dive. I hope you found it helpful. Until next time.
Take care.